And on that note, we're going to switch things up a little bit and we're going to get into a little segment that we like to call.
Oh, yeah! Flicks.
All right. And as you can tell by the header, we are going to be reviewing the latest Disney redo, live action redo in Mulan, which came out on Disney
Yes.
Plus last Friday for $30. Uh,
Rental.
I rental, I guess. So let's get into this real quick. So Disney's testing this with Mulan, this Premier Access joint,
Yep.
and it's $30. You get to keep the movie as long as you have your Disney Plus subscription. So that, in a sense, might
Oh, I
make
didn't know that.
yeah, that in a sense might make it worth it. However, seen the movie twice already, and you see on the headers I put the two posters up there because that's probably the only similarity there is between the two movies, and even the posters are different in that sense. So I'm gonna let you kick this off because you know I have my own opinions about the movie, obviously,
Mm.
but I want to hear your take on it. How many times have you seen it? Because I've seen it twice. Obviously, you can. It's multiple rewatches since you're at home. But
Yeah, my kids have watched it twice already.
okay,
My 10 and 8-year-old, I've watched it twice. I have only watched it in completion once.
okay,
Full disclaimer, I was looking forward to this film like a lot, a
hmm
lot, a lot. Mainly because I was just excited to see like someone that looks like me on the big screen again.
yeah,
Um,
that's the one thing
yeah,
it's got going for it too. Is like there's a good representation. There's no quote unquote
which
whitewashing stuff like that. Well,
yeah,
okay, go ahead, get into it.
there's a detriment to that. I guess I'll hop into that a little bit later, but there
Okay,
was a little bit, in my opinion, by making it very restricted in terms of who they could cast. But
hmm.
so there was a good side about that. But I was really excited about this film, and also because Donnie Yen's in it, and you already know if you watch
that,
any of our old videos, I'm a huge fan.
that's your boy.
My boy right there, the guy can do it all. So seeing him in there and playing a somewhat major role is really cool. But so for me, I approached this film as if it had nothing to do with the animated version of it, its
Okay,
predecessor, its original. Um, Main reason is because unless you're gonna make this movie goofy, you can't remake Mulan
right.
in the way that we kind of grew up on it.
hmm
So I literally treated this as a whole new film. Didn't even like try to put the story out of my mind. And so by doing it that way, I actually thought the film was great. I had a great time watching it. Did it have a couple things that I could have worked on and progress wise in terms of the story that could have been a little bit better? Yeah, for sure. But the way I saw it was that as a standalone film, if you ignore the actual original animated version, and I know some people will say that you can't just ignore it, that's the source material, but if you do your best to, this stands alone on its own. It's a film that is worth a piloting of a new way of consuming media. So I think Disney made a really calculated risk on this one.
hmm
um, but I do think that this film, being that it's live action, and you can't capture the action that they capture unless you do live action, and you also can't capture, I guess, the feelings they want you to really kind of feel in this movie
hmm
unless you remove the goofiness.
Right.
And do I think that the Phoenix was a little bit kind of like, what the heck is the point of this thing? Yes. Like, what the heck does that thing do at all? The whole movie besides fly around.
It's like, yeah, okay, keep going.
So there are definitely a couple plot holes. Where I did like that they kind of had the background music sometimes, and honored the original film. But what really won me over was the action. Them doing their best to really like highlight the Chinese culture and whatnot, and only using Chinese actors for the most part.
hmm
Um, it did become a detriment at times though, because just some of the things that the accents are just too strong. Where it's kind of like I feel like I'm listening to my uncle talk,
Right.
and it's
hmm
like that So
It's
that was
not appealing.
not for me.
So
Yeah,
I want to get into that too, real quick. So
sure.
for me, the greatest parts of the movie were the landscapes, the action scenes. Some of the humor was good when it hit. A lot of
Mhm.
times, though, uh, the humorous points that they were trying to go for. Yeah, you knew they were trying to be funny, but it's
Yeah,
just the execution at times. Again, because of the heavy accents and just kind of it didn't fall. It didn't hit well enough. It didn't hit you hard
yeah,
enough to where you had belly laughs. But
right,
funny to the point where obviously it was funny the joke that they were going for.
right.
But I don't know if you've seen on Cinemax Warrior,
I have
which
not.
which is I don't know. I don't know if you know the premise of that. It's actually Bruce Lee's original treatment for how kung fu was supposed to go before they passed him up for it.
Mm.
And there's a
Ooh,
group. This is there's a group headed up by Justin Lin, obviously of Fast and Furious fame and Better Luck Tomorrow. He's
yep.
actually still one of my favorite filmmakers.
Better luck tomorrow. Go
Yeah,
back, bro.
we'll get into a retro review of that.
Can't wait.
But yeah, Warrior treats it. It takes place early in say late 1800s, early 1900s, where the California's gold rush, where the West has imported Chinese workers, so this, that, and so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
the way that they handle accents in that is that they've casted Asian Americans for the most part,
Yep.
and it started off they're talking uh, Chinese, which is either Cantonese or Mandarin. I can't tell the difference. That's my ignorance. So I'm gonna leave that out
Got
there
you.
right there. But you understand where I'm coming from. They're talking the Chinese dialect, but then like a little zoom happens, and when the zoom comes out, it's English.
Oh.
So I thought that's what they were gonna go for in this, just
Hmm.
because if you wanted to try to stay authentic but still be um, have the appeal to the Western audience. Because there's
Hmm.
a difference. Let's be honest. There's a difference. Like when Black Panther came out, obviously everybody is speaking English, even though it's like an African accent,
Right.
but still for the most part understandable, and it's
Hmm.
still Western American accents in there,
And jokes still land very
and
well.
jokes still land very well. But
Yeah.
obviously the Asian dialects, depending on how strong it is, it just sometimes isn't understandable. And I get you. So that's where I get your point on that.
Yeah.
So as I was watching the movie, I was hoping that, or as the movie started, I was hoping it would switch from English to maybe a Chinese dialect and then back out, just kind of like to give you the scope. But it didn't do
Yeah.
that. Um, and then what was, I guess, the detriment to that is that some of the dialogue, some of the expressiveness
Yeah.
that
That felt flat too.
that fell flat. And it's no, I don't think it's a fault to the actress or to any of the actors. It's just it is what it is,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and the accent's hard to get over because it's not one of those accents that the Chinese accent going alongside English. It's not it sounds different.
Yeah.
Like you use the example of Black Panther, right? Where even though they were like doing their interpretation of an I guess I'm assuming African accent.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being ignorant with that.
So
Um,
Sosha, I think again, if I pronounce that wrong, sorry, but
wow,
it's
I'm
X
impressed you even know
H
that.
O
That's
S
great.
H. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know if I said it right. So, but whatever. I know the dialect. Yeah.
Right. So, but with their interpretation of it, it still it meshes better with the English language than the Chinese accent does. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so, I guess for me, like a saving grace to this film, to kind of like uplift that, those the fact that the accents are so strong sometimes. Like sometimes the things that Mulan says that I think were meant to hit harder,
Yeah.
but they just didn't.
They just didn't. Yeah.
It just didn't. And but a saving grace of this film was really the fight choreography. You know, me with my background, in martial arts and
Mm-hmm.
and doing it for so long, I am a stickler for technique.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very obvious to me when you're not someone that has a martial arts background, you just learned it for a film. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
just some people just don't look right doing
Right. Right.
it. And so, you know, but the people they casted for this film, having Donnie Yen again, I can gush about him all day, but just the simple act of him spinning the sword around
Mm-hmm.
kind of showcases his skill. It's like, all right, damn.
Yeah.
And
This is
so
still your hero.
yeah, he's gonna be forever. Even though he's not even that much older than me. Although actually, he's like 50 something. So I'm exaggerating. Um, but the choreography, even with the actress, I believe she has no martial arts background whatsoever. So the choreography with her was done very well. Where they obviously you could tell stuff where it was like a lot flipping in the air.
A lot
But
of
not
wire
using
work.
wires was not her, right?
Yeah.
Because the hair cover up and everything like that. They were very creative how they kind of disguised her. But the stuff that she was in, outside of the way she held the sword a couple times, her technique was pretty good, considering that she has no background in it. And the guy, oh shoot, I should remember the name. I'm blanking right now. But I guess I can't remember. How can I not remember? This is horrible.
Which one?
The love interest.
I forgot his name too.
I know
Well,
it's three
that's
syllables.
another thing too. Is that the characters are kind of, other than the main characters and obviously Donnie Yen's character,
Yeah.
they're somewhat, unfortunately, somewhat forgettable. The guys that play Ling and Yao and all them,
Yeah.
and Cricket was turned into a human for this movie.
Yep.
There is a loss of the charm, I guess,
Yes.
from the original movie
Yeah.
into this one, because they basically took Mulan and made it into a martial arts, quote unquote martial arts epic or dramatic epic, something like that.
I think they're going the whole like hero route.
You're right, and it didn't. For me, it didn't hit in
Hero
that
didn't even hit
sense
back in the day.
because because Hero was Hero. And nobody doesn't know we're talking about 2002 Hero with Jet Li. Donnie Yen's in that one too. Jet Li's actually in this movie too. He's almost forgettable as the Emperor.
Well, can we do a spoiler real quick on this one?
Sure.
If you could do
Hold on.
that,
Spoiler warning, real quick. So 3, 2, 1, and go.
if Jet Li's character could have done that stuff the entire time, why the F did it take till the last battle for him to actually start using his stuff? I know you're the Emperor and you can't die. You're not supposed to fight. But dude, you're catching arrows with one hand.
Plot hole.
You know what I'm saying?
Hole.
That's I know it's a martial arts epic, so it doesn't need to be like that realistic. But dude, you could have held your own this entire time.
Yeah, and it's the adversaries too. There wasn't enough menace to them. I don't think not the same that there was in the original movie. And Jason Scott Lee did a good job, I think, for what he was given. By the way, that if who doesn't remember him from being Bruce Lee in the 1993 movie Dragon, that's another nerd fact for you guys. But I think he did well, and he resembled a lot the Hun from
he did
from the original version.
Great makeup, great hair,
great makeup, yeah.
Eyeless, whatever.
If you take the makeup away too, it looks like he hasn't aged like at all.
Right.
It's weird.
Right, because at first, like, if you're not a huge Bruce Lee guy, you recognize the face, but you can't pinpoint it. That to me tells me you've aged well.
Yeah. Hey man, Asian don't Asian, right?
We don't.
Not for a while. All right. Finishing it up. So I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it holds a candle to the original. If I were to grade it, I'd give it a B minus C plus. What do you?
I give it a solid B.
Solid B.
A solid B. I really enjoyed it, actually. I know there's a lot of holes, but I actually really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, again, if you go into it, like you said earlier, and not expect anything from the original film, and as a standalone film, it's and minus all the political stuff that I don't know if you know is going on around it, it's an enjoyable movie.